Hello.
Hi.
Well, I might as well get started. So this is the October call for the New Mexico Drought Monitoring Work Group, and this is Dave Dubois down in Las Cruces. And so let's go around the call and introduce yourself, please, and we'll start on the. Go ahead.
John Fleck at the Albuquerque Journal on the phone today.
I'm in a Beer Reclamation.
This is Greg Story at the National Weather Service Bus Golf RFC in Fort Worth.
Mary Ewell, BLM.
Curtis McFadden, Army Corps of Engineers.
And who do we have at the Weather Service office?
Oh, sorry, I was
No problem.
daydreaming. Yeah, this is Chuck, of course, and we have Brian Geyer, Senior Meteorologist here, and Molly Magnuson from the Office of the State Engineer.
And John Longworth's here.
And
He's just not here right now.
oh, all right, John's hiding somewhere.
Great. Welcome, everyone. So hopefully we'll get some better news. We won't throw Chuck out.
Right.
And so let's get started with the National Weather Service report. And go ahead, Chuck.
All right, thanks, Dave. Hello, everybody. I'm going to start with the current and work backwards, and then we'll look at the future later on. So what's been happening so far this month? Kind of the opposite of what we'll see went on during September, and that is we've been lacking rain in the southeast third or quarter of the state, whereas northwest areas are doing a little bit better in terms of monthly precipitation. We're looking at some near normal over the northwest, west central areas. And the Northeast actually doing the best of anybody compared to their normals. Speaking of September, hooray! It was a good month, at least for the southern third of the state. Ended up the statewide average of 190% of a normal. Well, that was because of 300 to 400% plus normals across the southern tier of New Mexico. So we were a little over 3 inches of rain for the month, and that was 1.5 inches above normal statewide average. So, overall pretty good. Obviously for the south, not so great. Northern and the central areas. And just to put that into perspective, over the last 100 plus years, we can see it was a wet month and 7th wettest on record. And if we break it down by climate division, we can see which climate divisions did the best. Obviously, 7 and 8 down here were the best. Southern deserts and southeast plains did very well, but so did some other areas of west central and east central New Mexico, and even up in the northwest had 142% of normal. So. Pretty good month overall for sure. If we back up and talk about June through September, which is roughly the monsoon season, we can see that we're at 119% of normal statewide. So it was a good monsoon season with July and especially September being the best month, and we ended up tied for the 23rd wettest on record. And now for the calendar year, January through September, 98% of normal. Not too bad. And you can see here the southeast plains obviously doing the best. There are some pockets through the central and north central portions of the state that are also running above normal. And now we'll go back, we're still in the calendar year, again, tied for 62nd driest on record. pretty much right in the middle, really, of 120 years. So just slightly below normal precipitation. Works out to 98% of normal. And there it is here, right almost on the normal. If we go back to the water year now, though, not quite as good, 93% of normal across the state. This is the complete 2014 water year now, going back to October of last year. But there were some areas, that ended up quite a bit above normal, again in the southeast and a little bit up here in the northern mountains. So that was the 49th driest on record, about an inch below normal for the water year. Again, 93% of normal. Pretty close to last water year. Of course, that was thanks to the record rainfall of September of 2012. And 2013, sorry. And obviously the 2 years prior to that were very, very dry. If we expand this out now to 24 months from October 2012 through this past September, we're still at 93% of normal, the 40th driest on record, around 2 inches below what we should have been at in terms of normal. 36 months starts to get worse, 22nd driest on record, over 5 inches below normal. That works out to 87% of the normal statewide average precipitation. And then if you look down here at 4 and 5 years, it's been pretty high, 6th driest and 11th driest in 4 years and 5 years respectively. So again, in the short-term drought, yes, we made significant improvements, but when we start talking about more than 2 years, we're still in a significant long-term drought. Speaking of drought, here's the drought status. The last one came out last week. No, not looking too bad. We continue to show some improvement for most weeks. 63% of the state is still, though, in a moderate drought or worse. 8% in extreme and 30% in severe to extreme, and that's focusing on the west, the northwest, and a portion of the northeast. And with that rain in September, it really helped south central, east, and southeast areas with no drought being reported now. And if we look at what from 3 months ago to the present, we can see significant improvement just about everywhere except for some of the area up here in the northwest, but everybody else has made considerable improvement. But again, this is to me this is more of a short-term improvement rather than a long-term. So let's look at what's going to happen in the future, hopefully. But first, the loop here. It's a 3-month loop of the weekly sea surface temperatures. And we continue to see, as we get near the end of this, temperatures are warming, and the anomalies obviously are going up as well. And so we will see here, and we're focusing in on this Nino 3.4 region, which is pretty much right in the central equatorial Pacific. And we're starting to see that area here get continuing to warm slowly, but it's going in the right direction. And just to show that in a different spotlight, here's the El Nino or the Nino 3.4 region, and we had that dip back in August and got very concerned that we might not have the El Nino episode going, but since then, the past 2 months, we've been hovering near that half a degree plus half a degree anomaly, and hopefully it'll continue to go up here over the next couple of months. And the forecasters and the models, the consensus from all that, still supporting El Nino conditions developing here in the next month or two. The El Nino watch continues, and officially we're looking at a 67% chance of the El Nino conditions developing by this winter. In fact, probably the early part of the winter. So the Climate Prediction Center for November precipitation outlook looks favorable in that odds are favoring above normal precipitation over virtually all the state, and that's especially true across the southern third or so. Meanwhile, temperatures, no strong signal there, equal chances of being above, near, or below normal. If we go out to 3 months now, November 2014, and we get into January 2015, still odds favoring above normal precipitation. So that's a good sign. Hopefully this will come to pass. In fact, they're 40+% chance of it being above normal across the southern 2/3 to 3/4 of the state. So that's hopefully an optimistic and a good forecast. Meanwhile, temperatures suggesting perhaps below normal for the southeast half of the state, with equal chances elsewhere. And now I'm just going to go forward one more 3-month period, which gets us the winter precipitation outlook for December through February. And it's very similar to the November to January one, with still looking at odds favoring above normal precipitation, especially the farther south you go across the state. And the same idea with the temperatures trending perhaps below normal across the southeast half of the state. And the seasonal drought outlook that came out a few days ago, and it goes through January 31st, pretty much implying that we're going to lose a good part, if not all, the drought status across the state over the next few months. So, again, things are looking up for the winter and hopefully into the spring. And now, if we want to, we can talk about this week's U.S. drought map and possible changes that we've been wanting to make. Mike, are you on the call?
I haven't heard either Mike or Victor. Yeah, I think I definitely agree with the southern tip of Grant and Hidalgo. I think the one that's was come up for discussion was the areas in Otero throughout, right around that area, or even part of Doniana and Sierra County. I just was while you were talking, I was just pulling a couple things up, and I think like at least throughout, like the Sacramentos have been doing pretty well, at least year to date, and also for the last 3 months. All of them are most of them are above the normals. I think Cloudcroft is 91. That's the lowest, and even on the east side, Elk, it's like 168% for a year. Mountain Park, 121, and White Sands, is 87%.
Just looking here at the 30-day.
Yeah.
I could quickly look at some other ones. Oh, 30 days. Yeah, okay.
I mean, SPIs are all positive. I mean that's
Mm-hmm.
So at least for bring up mine.
It's interesting though, in CD5 here, it's only 62% of normal in the last 60 days over the Rio Grande anyway.
Yeah, that's the one negative one. That's that in terms of SPI, that goes from 30 to 90 days. It remains. So it's just just shy of 0. It's negative 0.1 for CD5 through a 90-day. I mean, I think we should still keep in that sliver along the Rio Grande, because I mean, we'll talk about the reservoir storages and things, but I think in terms of the short-term rangeland, I didn't know if Les was on. How well that is doing in the southern part of the state. I didn't hear Les on. I guess he's not here. Because right, I mean, we're in the D1, and I don't know if we want to go and take it out of drought and just have a D0 in that area. I think that may have been the proposal. Wait, say it again.
I guess I would vote to keep this area here over south central portions the same. Did you say you agreed with the far southwest?
Yeah, I would agree with getting the D2 out. I was out there, right? It was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and driving down to Rodeo from Lordsburg, and I think in terms of I didn't do a rigorous lookout, but in terms of the rainfall and just walking around some of the rangeland along that stretch, it didn't look too bad. But that's mainly with just a quick look and looking at rainfall. They had we had some new COCORAS observers, and they had that 4.5 inch along about halfway down Hidalgo County. And I think that was pretty indicative of that area, because they said that all of the arroyos in that area were filled and flowing over the road, which I think that even maybe points to even higher rainfall amounts along the east side of the Chiricahua Mountains on the Arizona border. And I know radar is a little sketchy in that area, so I don't know how much I wouldn't really put a lot on the AHAPs. So I actually maybe even but I think that's good. So
and I don't know if the northwest coming off the.
I think so, because I was looking at Farmington, and they did get a little more. They've gotten some more. I don't see a lot else, since there's not very many measurements out there. And through Rio, in the western side of Rio Reba or northeast McKinley.
Right.
And we don't have the Chaco Canyon station back, that RCRN, so I'm missing a point there.
Chuck,
yes.
Do you think, is anybody on from Intertresa?
Anybody on from the El Paso office?
I guess not.
To them, just to verify with them that they agree with those southern areas. I think if there are areas down there, they might have some.
Yeah.
I could call them after our call and see if
if
either Dave is around or Jesse or somebody else, they can chime in. But I think I agree with with that D3 to D2 up in the northwest. It'd be nice to actually get the Navajo Nation engaged again. I know they have a few rain gauges up there. I don't know if they regularly check them up there in the Chusca Mountains, but it'd be nice to get, because that seems like that's matches what on the and I think Arizona has been agreeing with that on the Arizona side.
So at this point, basically, then this draft looks okay.
Okay. Yeah, wait and see what.
Here,
yeah, I think we
On any suggested changes?
Yeah, I
South
think
Central?
I was more wanting to hear some, if you had some strong opinions on the Otero, but if you didn't, I think we just leave it the way it is.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because I think if you look back in the long term, it's that is still the heavy weight on that is the long term, and I think I remember I need to talk to the White Sands folks as well, because they've been monitoring groundwater, and I think they're going to ramp up to get more measurements on the National Monument. So maybe we can include them in on the calls. Or even White Sands, the range, missile range. They own a lot of land. Okay. I think if anybody else has any other comments or impacts they would like to share and that would help us. If not, then we could proceed. And we'll engage the other folks after the call. All right, so I think Raymond Abeda is on the call with the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation.
Sure. And one thing you might want to, like you were saying, consider the reservoirs, especially on the Rio Grande, when you're considering the drought. So they're still pretty low. I'll start with Petoro. 12,272 acre feet. Heron, 72,374. Elvado, 20,957. Abiquiu, 128,224. Cochiti, 47,162. Elephant Butte, 179,369. I'm sorry, 469. And Caballo, 31,154. So those are pretty low. Especially if you consider Elvado and Elephant Butte and Caballo. And we got a long ways to get those before we can consider the drought over as far as our reservoirs. And the Pecos were doing really well. We've had some really good rain events. Some of the graphs showed, and we had up to 10 inches of rain, close to 10 inches of rain in some single storms south of Carlsbad. And we had a lot of flooding in that area, and we have a lot of carryover water in Brandley that we kind of held on to for a while to help out in Red Bluff, Texas. So I'll start with Santa Rosa, 70,992. Sumner, 36,187. Brandley, 78,107. And Avalon is down to 705. So there you go. The rains have really helped us on the Pecos Basin as far as the reservoirs, and we could see it also in just the amount of water it's taking to keep the whole river wet. The river has been wet and continuous the whole season long. It did not dry once, and we have the lawn pumps running right now, and we have some forbearance water being turned back to the river from FSID, and it's just probably that'll make probably about 18, 19 CFS for the blunt nose, and it's keeping it wet the whole way. The last few years, it was just taking so much water to try to keep it wet. We couldn't do it, but it seems like a lot of the groundwater has been replenished, and the bank storage and whatnot. And the Rio Grande, we're winding down also the season here in a couple more weeks. On both basins, the irrigation season will be over. And seem to be managing. On the Rio Grande, Colorado sending just a little bit more native. They had some rain showers, and we seem to be making it. The river's continuous again, and no dry spots, so we might go out okay on this season. Anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Raymond. Appreciate it.
You bet, thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Raymond. I that's the reason why we keep that sliver along the middle Rio Grande, along the Central Valley, because of that long term, until we see an improvement maybe after the winter. We'll reevaluate that area again. So I'll keep pushing to keep that in there in terms of drought monitoring.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, until we get LFU and Caballo above 400,000, we can't even store native, up north, So, so we have, these domino things that have to take place first before we can even start storing up north, and we can't even do that yet until we get it all from Butte and Caballo in a lot better shape. And then we'll see what we have left over for up north.
Yeah, we're at what you say 179 right now at Elephant Butte, and I mean it's possible to go to 400, but that's a lot of water. That's a lot.
It is, and then like I said, last time we were in that bad of shape, in the early 80s, it took some really good banner years back to back that got us out of that. And so yeah, it's going to take a lot of these wet monsoonal, or not monsoonal, but El Nino winters that keeps kind of showing. If that really happens, and then that might, good snowpacks, that'll do it. But it'll be back to back for a while.
I hear you. So did I hear if Wayne was on the call? Did you come in? And I didn't get anything from NRCS. I don't know. Did you get anything, Chuck?
I did not either.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, if we get something, we can forward it out. I think
Right.
I'm on the automated list, but I didn't have time to forward that. And is Anne Marie on? I thought I saw when I sent out the agenda she was out of the office, but are you on, Anne Marie? Guess not. Alrighty, that takes us down to the Office of State Engineer. So would that be you, Molly, or John?
I guess that would be me.
Oh, sorry.
Where is it? Thank
There
you.
you go. F5.
That was it.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So here's our October report. The standard one we've been presenting for a few months. We have reservoir storage data from yesterday, except for I think it's the day before. And then we have some last year and average storage numbers from the NRCS with our legend that we've been using for a while now. So we started putting in the current month and the previous month, give people a little bit of a picture on how things might have changed. And the Navajo picture looks pretty much the same, as does Ute, pretty much the same. Not much different. But then we do see a difference on, not for the storage, but when we look at compared to last year, due to that great rainstorms that we had last September that filled up some of the Pecos reservoirs. The same thing on Sumner is that we have the storage so much greater in October of 2013 than September. Part of this is, when in the month you get your numbers too. And the same issue there for Brantley. There's more water than in September for sure, just like Raymond ran through those numbers for us. And on the Rio Grande, same picture that Raymond presented, except Not a lot of positive changes there. More or less the same on Abiquiu also. And Elephant Butte, as he said, pretty darn low. I guess we had a little more water last year in October than in September. And the same with Caballo, but the contents are pretty much haven't changed from the last month. So if anybody has any questions.
Would you be able to send those graphs out to the group?
You bet. Happy to do that. And we do put them on our website, and we're getting faster at that too, but I'll be happy to send them.
All right, well, thanks.
And I'll send out my
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, thanks, Molly.
Huh?
Any questions for Molly or the state engineer's office? Nope. Doesn't sound like it. Okay. Let's move on to the NMDA. I didn't know if Les or Ryan, are you on the call? I guess not. Forgot to send a memo, I guess. I just pulled up a weekly crop summary while we were talking, and just looking at this is a crop summary for the week ending October 19th. Just looking at some of the comments. For Rio Reba, they're saying winter ranges in parts are looking good. Calves are being shipped to local and out-of-state sale barns. Taos County, hard freeze is taking place throughout the county. Second cutting is 75% complete in hay. Quay County, grain sorghum samples are still a little green. Cotton bolls starting to open. Fourth cutting for alfalfa done. Some light frost. So growing season's winding down or ended in a lot of those places. Luna County, amount of moisture we have gotten has been good. However, due to the fact that pastures were so dry, they have absorbed the moisture at a quick rate. More moisture is needed in areas to produce substantial feed. So that's an important comment from one of the county, probably NRCS. Soil moisture conditions, looking at topsoil for this, looks like statewide. The current week, 25 very short, 27 short, 47 adequate, and only one on surplus. Compared to last year, where they had just a little more on the adequate and short. So it's similar for subsoil moisture. Range and pasture conditions. Looking at, let's look at the northwest. So if you look at very poor to poor, it's 52%. And so that's quite a bit. Things haven't responded as much as the precip, sort of lagging in terms of the range and pasture conditions. Southeast doing well. Southwest, 50% fair, 30% poor. So I think that helps out a little bit in looking at the range and pasture and how that responds to the precip. So that's all I can see through the NAT. I'm reading the NAS crop progress report. So if I get anything from Les or Ryan, I'll forward it on. And So, and I think I also got an email from, I think it was Joy Lynn, and she said she's at another state conference call. So if you guys have any questions for Joy Lynn at Farm Service, please forward it on, or forward it directly to her. She's willing to take any questions. So does anybody else have any other? I see. Chuck, you have a soil moisture plot on there. Would you like to talk about that? Or did I catch you on a pondering moment? So we see the Civietta and at 20 inches and 40 inches. So what is the time scale on that? I can't see it on my screen here. Chuck, you still there?
I think they got bumped off.
Oh, he did?
Hi guys, we're back.
Okay.
We had a weekly test of the backup generator, and when that happened, that interruption in power, we lost it. So
oh, sorry about that. Okay.
The phone.
Oh,
Okay. I'll make sure it's okay.
I told Pat just now.
I pulled up here something Dee made a little while ago. Deirdre Kahn, our Sue here, just showing the moisture down at 40-inch depth, and you can see that it hasn't made that much improvement over the last year or two. It's come up a little bit, but we're still not at where we were, 4 years ago. So. We saw spikes here in the 20-inch, obviously, past September. But, we're still not doing that great on 20-inch moisture either.
So those spikes on the 20, that was the 2013 events.
Yep.
So they can see those showing up clear, but not at the 40. And then it kind of responded. It was very interesting. See, it went right back down.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't stay. I guess it's some function of the soil, right? Some of the texture.
Right.
Very interesting.
Because I also pulled it up for Alcalde, which is north central.
Yeah.
And boy, there we are not getting a signal at 40 inches at all. So this is still new data for us. We're trying to evaluate. But I would think at Sovieta and Las Lunas near the Rio Grande Valley, we'd want to see that 40-inch signature, and the same as the Eastern Plains. So.
Yeah.
We're just not. And then my longest source of data, which was Crossroads in northern Lee County,
right.
They haven't reported, unfortunately, since the end of July. So that was a good historic record to really look at. I think we had 10 years of data, and now they're letting us down for this year. So.
Steve, why do you think we're not seeing anything 40 inches?
From what I hear, it was so dry. I just think it's not going down that low. I don't know. The other person I talked to was a grave digger on the East Mountains who had said they had not seen soil that dry. He had been digging graves for 20 years or something, and they just say the soil is really, really dry. So I think we're just not getting down that low. So again, you're right. If we use this more, we have to look at the soil types at the different places, and it would be nice if we have longer records. But this is a fairly new network, and only at a couple sites do we have more than 4 years of data. So
that's another group we need to engage, the grave diggers.
There we go. But interestingly, Savieta and Las Lunas, the Rio Grande Valley is still a bit moisture starved, if I remember correctly, Chuck.
Yeah.
Those sites are not seeing the above average precipitation that other places haven't. That's why you try to, it would be great if we had a lot of these sites, but we only have a handful to look at. So.
Bruce.
Sevietta?
No, I know where Sevietta is.
Where in Sevietta? Well, it's somewhere on the thing. This is the SCAN network from NRCS.
Mm-hmm.
And we've just this year, we've been trying to look at the data more and see what we see. Well, I guess we started the end of last year check.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But
dry
still
it was.
trying to figure it out. Last year, yeah, everything was so dry, and then we saw the spikes for September, only not at Crossroads, because that extreme southeast corner last year, and even extreme east central, didn't really get impacted by the September 13 event. So that's why it was so nice to have that. And then we don't have anything in the Tucumcari area, which is unfortunate.
I was just curious if that's in the Mesa versus in the Valley.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. We can look it up.
Yeah, I think so. The Sivieta. You know, I'm not sure. I know where the CRN site is, but I'm not sure where the scan. Look that up.
Wouldn't you think it would be? Wouldn't you think they'd share the same site? But I guess that's wrong to, totally. But you would think that they would need power and everything out there, because this they report anyhow precipitation and temperature and things like that. So my guess is that it would be where the other instrumentation is, but we have to look into that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Los Lunas, they've had pretty consistent. I'm looking at the co-op over at the Ag Science Center in Los Lunas, and they're doing pretty well for through the monsoon, right at normal. But it'd be interesting to see the soil profile there. But yeah, I think we should start looking at the soil moisture plots a little more. I agree. It gives us some good indicators.
Some sort of response each year, right? In and around the monsoon season, and it goes up from 8 to 10 pretty consistently. So that's why I'm sort of thinking a little bit, is it just attenuating? Because if you look at the 20 inch, you see it's a lot different. Right, you see in 12, we had some storms there, and we had in the 40 inch, and then, I'm not a beta film guy, so I don't know if attenuation could possibly be something going on there.
Well, and it's definitely higher. I mean, if you look carefully, 2014, August and September, is about a percentage or two. It's right along the 12% line, whereas previous years are really below that. At 40 inches check I'm looking at. So we see some improvement that low, and I just don't have a good enough feeling for what would be, say, significant.
Yeah. But you can see the nice El Nino at the very left side of the plot. I brought it up. All right. So any other tidbits, information, comments that we should address here? I guess not. So I think we should talk about when we're going to meet next month. So grab your calendars, and so that would be in November. So we have so if I keep our reference, the CPC updates their graphs and maps on the 20th. Is that correct?
Correct.
So that's a Thursday before Thanksgiving, and I don't know what are you guys, what are your plans? Would folks be available that next week? The week of the 24th, either a Monday or Tuesday?
I'm good Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm on midnights. Maybe I can stay awake for a couple hours.
Send you some coffee.
And I'm here, so you're all you could come in.
Yeah.
We got people who could, I think, cover it if that's the right time, and I think that time it is.
So do we?
I won't be here, but send somebody.
Oh, good.
Do we want to keep it at Tuesdays? Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think it was either Anne Marie or somebody who couldn't make it on Mondays.
That's right. I think you can either.
On Monday.
Okay, so Tuesday. So let's set it for November 25 at 10 a.m.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you.
writing it down. Okay,
Thanks,
thanks
everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob.
We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay,
Bye.
we'll see you.
Take care, Dave.
Take care.